Hello, welcome to the second part of this creating our benchmark asset. So we've modeled everything. And we're just going to combine this together actually. So finish combined. So we've modeled everything. We've modeled our can. We like how it looks in the smooth preview. We're just going to let's act it up. We're just going to bring it down to the center here. If we hit D, we can D and then V, we can snap to the vertex point. And then we hit X, we could snap to the grid, and we just bring it directly into the center of our grid. So generally when you have assets, you have this gizmo down here, X, Y, Z. We want our assets to be facing Z this way. That's because when you import them to the engine, they should come out facing straight forward then. So we have our asset here, and we're going to UV unwrap this. But first I'm just going to no, we'll do that after. We will take our asset. The way I'm going to show you the UV unwrap will allow you to generally UV unwrap things a lot faster. Sometimes it doesn't always work perfectly. With cylindrical objects, it should work pretty well. But this is the kind of the way that I UV map things whenever I want to get them done fast. So we're just going to take the UV, have our UV editor up, and we will just click UV and click camera based. Now obviously this is not good. This is not what we want for our UVs, but this is just so that we get this basic UV here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut everywhere where there will be seams, and then I'll show you how it works afterwards. So we have to imagine where the hard cuts in our actual object will be. So all the corners. So we're going to take this corner. We're going to click on UV and cut edges. So that's going to be one UV. Now this, the actual main body of the spray, we want all this to be one UV. So this will probably come up to here, right on the edge here. Click on this edge, on cut as well. Then we have this top facing, this top facing section here. So that's going to come to about here. Cut that there as well. Cut. And this dome section is just going to come to about here. Hit G to repeat the action. So that cut that there. And just have to get onto this section here. This section here, G again, cut it. It's this section here, again, G, cut. Section here, G for G, repeat. Same again, cut, cut, cut here, cut here, cut here, cut here. You see where I'm going for this. Cut here. We'll leave this bit. We'll leave this bit for a second. Now, when you're unwrapping things for cylindrical objects, you're going to want to cut down the middle as well, because it kind of like has to fold out, unfold. And what we'll see is, so we've made all of our cuts here. Let's make this windows bigger. We've made all of our cuts here. So if we click everything and then shift, hold in right click and go to unfold, we've now got a lot of our unfolded objects, and a lot of this will actually be fine to use. So we'll just separate these for a second. We click on this, we click, drag them on, go to layout, It's a separate tool. So what we'll see here is that this doesn't look right still. It's because we need to make a cut down the middle so that it unfolds properly. And what we want this sort of seam of this to be in the back, because generally you probably won't see the back. So where is this here? The seam here. This will be the back of our object. And if we click on cut, that'll make a cut. So now it's able to unfold. So we do again shift, hold and right click, unfold. Boom. It's now unfolded properly, so we just need to adjust this by clicking orient shells or orient shells. And there we go. We have our perfectly unfolded UV shells. So I always like to keep them big just to see what they look like. With UVs, we want these checker texture to look as square as possible. That means that the texture when we put on it won't look skewed. So we'll just sort through these. So this is fine, and then this section down here, because this doesn't need unfolded because it's flat. Your best friend is the unfold tool. This generally will fix a lot of errors that will come up during UV mapping. Let's see. You can also select the actual UVs, which is really fast when you're trying to like unwrap. I use it a lot because it selects the whole thing for you. So this should be fine. We're going to give it an unfold just to let it breathe a bit. It's kind of like letting the UVs breathe. Sometimes they can be a bit skewed, and then doing that can fix it. Now this, I don't think this is ideal. We could maybe give this part the same treatment as this, so this cylindrical part here. So if we find the seam in the body, you kind of want your seams to be on the same section, so there's consistency in your texture. So your seams here, match that up to this one, which should be this, and then cut. And if we just unfold, yeah, so we get this sort of yeah. Okay. I think maybe if we cylindrical map this, yeah, so we up to UV and cylindrical mapping. This should fix a lot of our problems here. And we can scale this down a bit. If you look at the UV squares here, these look very warped. This will tell you that something's not quite right with your UVs. So we just want to right click on the UVs and just bring these up a bit, so that they're a bit more normalized. Same with these ones. Just bring these down a bit. Same again. Just trying to make them look as square as possible, because that's how we know that our textures will look a-okay. Sometimes it's good to like bring it to the extreme so you know what it looks like. Just bring it down. And I also like to scale it up, because once you scale it up, you can really sort of see what it looks like in a bigger picture. So I know that these bottom ones might need to be scaled a bit better, so they're a bit more square. And second row, just click both of them again, so you're moving both. Grab the third. And these last ones seem to be a bit wonky. But that's not the end of the world. Once you scale it down, it shouldn't look too bad. Alright. The straighter your UVs are, the easier it will be to bake. You'll get less errors. All right, so we'll move on to this section. Again, you can just grab it with the UV shell. We don't want it to look like that, again, because it's like a cylindrical type shape. So again, we're going to find the seam that we had for the other two parts. It's here. And then click that, cut. It's able to breathe, unfold it. There you go, nice and straight. Orient that line. I like to just sort of match mine up so they're nice and they're in like chronological order. Okay, and then this section here, the under bit, that's fine because that's flat, so that doesn't need cut. This section here, this is going to need cut. Again, find your seam. I actually cut that last bit in the wrong seam actually, but okay, it's not too bad. It's a small area, you probably won't see it anyway. So this bit here, cut it, double click it, shift, right click, unfold. It's ready to breathe. It's bent over and now it's ready to breathe again. Scale this in. Perfect. This is a flat area, so this doesn't need anything. Just keep this. I like to put them all in the same wee circle. Again, we're going to cut it here. Cut it here. Cut. Select, shift, right click, unfold, orient, and then just rotate it here. And then just bring that up here like this. You guessed it, this is flat. This doesn't need to go anywhere. So we can just put this in here. This section seems a bit wonky for some reason. Have I messed something up here? That's quite strange. What we do here is we just click on this and then click unfold. It's very strange. If I move this in, oh well, it's not too important. We'll just edge, select the part of the edge here. See if I can find the seam again. Okay, here we go. Here's the edge. Same as before. Cut, right click, hold in, shift, right click, unfold. Pop, pops out. Nice and easy. Quite fortunate because this object is simple in terms of its shape. You won't always get this lucky, unfortunately. But the technique that I showed you for using the camera based UVs and then just cutting the edges, it's very effective at doing it. Sort of lets you speed up your UV process much more than just sort of automatic unwrapping and doing it manually, which can be quite time consuming. Just cut it here. Great. Almost done now. This doesn't need UV'd and this doesn't need UV'd because they're quite similar. You're going to fold them anyway because sometimes they can expand a bit. Right, this is the last piece, well, apart from the nozzle, and then we'll just oh, excuse me, I had to sneeze. Cut, unfold orient shells. Maya's UV tools are quite strong. They're some of the best tools you can have in sort of 3D software. Okay, let's just for this last bit here. Again, so to demonstrate that sort of technique, we'll just go to UV, camera-based UVs, which are never going to give you correct UVs. And then we're just going to select, you can do it on the UVs if you want. You can select all the edges where we know we're going to want to cut. That should be it. Cut those. And then for the sections that need another cut, we'll cut them here. Boom, boom. Cut. Select all this. Unfold. This needs another cut. So let's cut it here. Cut. Same as before. Unfold. Orient shells. You get pretty used to it after a while. You get pretty fast. We actually won't need this back bit, so if we just, you can click on the UV shell and delete it, but that'll only delete the UV shell. So what you do is, if you Control Z, make sure you're out of this window. I always like to do this just to make sure I'm back in the model window, and then delete, and then you'll delete the actual mesh part. Grab these, orient them, maybe unfold. Even if you don't think it needs to, just do it anyway, because you never know. It might be like a small part of the mesh tucked away. Right, perfect. That's the whole thing UV mapped. One thing that you're going to have to also think about is your texel density. Texel density, you could do a whole other video on it. How I could summarize it is just it's the method of making sure that objects have the appropriate texture size for texture resolution for their size. Something like the spray can probably won't need a 4K texture because it's so small that you won't even really notice it. And maybe something more like a 1024 resolution map, maybe even 2048. So basically what it sort of dictates is how much texture space do certain objects deserve. Personally, whenever I'm making portfolio pieces, I like to just give everything a 4K texture just because I want it to look crisp. So in your transform section of your UV tools, you can change your texel density. I recommend using this 10.3200. It's what I use for work as well. And then you can change the map size to whatever you want. This is 4K, 1486. So you can click on this and then set it to this texel density. It will make it very tiny because it's a small object. So we click set, it makes it tiny because this is what it actually needs to be the right texel density so that the textures look consistent. But we don't really care about that. We know it's going to be overkill, but we're making a portfolio piece, so we just want to give as much texture resolution as possible. So what we're going to do here is click on layout. What this will do is we'll just automatically just set everything within the UV space. Now you could sit here and hand pack everything, but honestly there's no point. This does a good enough job automatically. So I think this is the perfect way of just getting these objects done pretty quickly. So that's it. That's our object UV mapped. Before you export your model, you're always going to want to delete by type history and clear transforms. That means that because I don't think it always, I don't know if it brings any extra information into Unreal Engine, but it just gets rid of any. Sometimes it can fix like all anomalies and scale and stuff like that in your UV maps. So it's good to just do it to make it a habit. So yeah, that's the part 2 of creating our benchmark asset.